those of you who actually pay attention to what I'm doing, the 5 of you, I know the world is all big mess as it is. Nobody cares about any of this stuff. But I do. I care about this stuff. All right, right here. See, public record request. This is your public request. Note the video from January 27th was streamed via WebEx, which has been reposted. Now, I sent that in because the beginning of the public testimony was cut off. And I'm probably the only man in the world that would know that, because I'm the only one that actually watches this stuff. But anyway, they actually reposted it, and here it is. So let's see.
Begins for the first 45 minutes of our meeting every.
Yeah. See, they chopped off the. My favorite part of these meetings is the public testimony. Okay, that's my favorite part of these things, because those are real people who have real concerns, taking their time to talk to this bunch of whoever they are, people, these so-called leaders who are basically rulers, who rule over us, not elected. None of these people are elected. They have no connection to us other than they say they represent us, but we know they don't actually do that. So anyway, let's watch the beginning of the public testimony, which they so nicely left out on the first version.
Every month. And it's where we provide opportunities for folks to talk with us about items on the agenda or other items of concern that.
So yes, thank you, Trimet Public Records Request Department. They didn't even make me wait that long.
We may be able to deal with. If we're not able to deal with them, we'll hopefully be able to steer you to the right organization. But we have, as you heard, a number of folks who want to provide public opportunity or public input to us this morning. So I'm going to have to ask that we really do have a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. And
this is what really pisses me off about him. He didn't even have to go anywhere. He's at home. Okay, I mean, you're at home. You really don't have an excuse to say we got to hurry this up now, because you're in your house. Okay, so I can understand people had appointments and things that they wanted to get to after these meetings, but now you're just at home anyway. So the 45-minute time limit should be gone. You should let everybody who wants to speak. Okay, and if you have way too many, then make them go down to 2 minutes. I mean, it's not that big of a deal for you people who are supposed to be the representatives of the people to listen to the public testimonies. And I really hope whoever takes over from him will be more sensitive to the public. I mean, Warner is one of the problems we have. My fear is that I think the next in line is Bauman, and she is really not good. I'm hoping Ozzy gets the next board. I'm hoping that they elect him the next chairman. All right.
And we'll remind you that you can submit written materials. I know that we probably have about 12 or 13 memos and letters that we received already they're part of our packet. So I would encourage you to be brief, especially if there's things you're all going to be saying the same.
Also, see, here he goes with it. You're going to say the same thing as the other one, then just yield to the other one. No, Bruce, no. You must listen to the public, okay? Even New York City, biggest transit district in the country, one of the biggest in the world, they give the people unlimited amount of time to say what's on their minds, okay? At least they do that. It's time for Trimet to stop trying to pressure the public forum into a box. Okay, stop being so mean about this. Let people talk.
Same thing. Please say you agree with the person rather than restating everything, so we can make sure we get everybody here, because we will try to cut it off right about 45 minutes after we start. Yeah. So it's 9:05 now, so I'm looking at about 9:50.
See, he just, it's just bad. I mean, They say they want to hear, they want public input. They care about the public. The public is so goddamn important. And then they pull this shit, which is evidence they don't care about you at all. You can take the time and listen. Now this meeting did go over, and they let it go over. He was going to call it, but he asked the board, and luckily the other members said, let him talk. See, Bruce's problem is he's been a technocrat his whole life. And so he has very little respect for the public at this point. We need somebody who's a chairman of this board who's more sensitive to the public.
So Jeff, could you give us the first person and open up their mic?
Yeah, we're going to start with Bill Owen. Bill, I'm unmuting your mic.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Jeff, Bruce, and the entire board. My name is Bill Owen, and I live at 185th and Heritage Parkway. I like to come to a board meeting once every 6 months or so to say hello and say thank you for all that Trimet does. I ride the 52 line regularly, and I ride the 62 and the 20, the 78 and the 76. And I just want to thank Trimet for, keeping us in mind on the west side. The 52 is a lifeline out here on 185th down to Farmington. The entire community uses it. Of particular interest to me is the bus shelter at 185th and Heritage Parkway. You guys have kept that for me there for several years now, and I really appreciate it. As a disabled
What, did they get a shelter just for him? Is that what he's saying?
rider, sunshine, rain, snow, cold, that shelter keeps me warm, and it makes a big difference to me in my ability to ride Trimet. So I see a lot of good things on the train and on the bus, and I know you guys do good things every day, and I like the
Bill Owen doesn't listen to the Trimet scanner.
projects that are coming up. So this is just a thank you for the bus shelter at 185th and Heritage Parkway, the 52 line, and in general from everyone from the west side to say hello and thank you.
Well, thank you very much for coming and participating this morning. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you, Bruce, and the whole board.
Yeah,
Thank
you.
you.
Right. Okay. We don't need apologies.
Right, with that, I'm going to go on to the next speaker,
Well,
please, Jeff.
Okay, we're going to go to Michael Miller next. Michael, I'm unmuting you.
Hello, my name is Michael Miller. I'm a bus operator and a
Whoa.
former rail operator.
Whoa, bus operator, rail operator. All right.
For Trimet. This pandemic has been pretty tragic, of course, in a public respect, but it's also been pretty tragic in the risk that has been taken by employees on the front line.
What do you think?
We're all out here doing our best to try and provide the services that Trimet provides for the public, which I understand we're an emergency evacuation crew as well. I would like if we could spend some time making sure that the operators are safe and focusing on getting the vaccine. Another thing, I understand that during this pandemic, we had been having negotiations in regards to trying to reduce the opportunity for some of the workers to get promotions to some of the training areas. And I don't understand the ethics of that. That doesn't make sense to me at all. I feel that a lot of people applied for those service positions with Trimet with the intention of growing with their family and getting positions that pay more and more training.
Oh, he's talking about the mechanic apprentice program.
And removing that after the fact doesn't feel fair at all. I was supposed to read a particular script and I can't seem to pull it up, and I'm not as savvy at this technology as I'd like to be. But in any case...
well, Michael, you should have had that ready to go. Okay, Jesus, you should have had that ready to go, buddy.
I appreciate that you guys had such a quick response to my email about the COVID pandemic and our response on the bus. I'm really impressed that we are wearing masks. I'm a little confused as to why the passenger load was increased to 18 to 24 people in a 400 square foot space without much else changing. So I was supposed to, oh, here I got, my buddy just sent me the script I was supposed to read. I'll try to get to.
About 20 seconds, please.
Okay.
Oh,
We've been designated essential workers, but are not treated as such. Today I speak on behalf of ATU 757, and I speak in solidarity with them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we go to the next one, I just want to say our employee safety is paramount to us, as is the safety of everybody out there that works on our system. So I think there are clearly some differences of opinion about what's going on in terms of training. We're not going to walk away from training for our employees, and we do want to make sure they're safe. So I'll make sure that, again, we continue our efforts to continue discussions and with the union about safety issues, because we know we're all learning as this goes on. So again, thanks for participating.
That's a bunch of bullshit. We're all learning as this goes on. Did you hear when, in the part that I did cover already, Shirley Block gets up here and talks. He cut her off. He wouldn't even let the president of the union have sufficient time to talk.
This morning. Jeff, next speaker.
All right, next up is Carlos. Carlos, I'm unmuting you.
Okay, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah, my name is Carlos Splitsdozer, and I'm also a member of ATU Local 757, and I am a rail operator. And I guess I would also like to voice my concern about Trimet on the contract negotiating side and their insistence on trying to eliminate the apprenticeship program for our maintenance employees, and how that is such an important, I feel, aspect of working at Trimet. Just like the generational knowledge that is passed down from more senior mechanics and stuff. It's not something that can be hired off the street, and I feel like quality and safety is going to be going down if the apprenticeship program is eliminated, like Trimet is trying to negotiate. And I'm also concerned about the $25 billion in funding ATU, or no, excuse me. Well, I am concerned about our brothers and sisters in paratransit who have been laid off, and I feel like I'm concerned about our riders that have mobility issues that don't allow them to take fixed route, and how this reduction in service affects them. I am also concerned about the fact that the number of people allowed on our vehicles has increased while service has been decreased, and I'm not sure if Trimet has gone back on this, but at some point over the summer or fall, the distancing suggestions were reduced from 6 feet to 3 feet without really much explanation whatsoever. And I feel like that puts our ridership and our employees at greater risk. And I would also like to see more enforcement of masks, or at least some sort of concern with that, because there's so many people on our system that don't wear them, and there's just a lot of people on that, more than what is officially considered safe.
Thank you. I'm going to have to ask you to wrap up if you're not done there.
I think that'll do for me.
All right. Thank you for your comments. We share many of the same.
Sure you do.
Jeff, next speaker, please.
All right. Next, we're going to go to Brian Turner. Brian, your mic is live.
Thank you. I'm the director of the Transportation Learning Center, the industry's only national organization for quality training systems for frontline workforce. The center is a joint effort of top leaders of the transport industry from both management and labor, both nationally and locally. And the center is trying to address an urgent continuing need, bringing stakeholders together to expand quality training based on the knowledge and experience of the entire workforce. I'm appearing today just for myself, not on behalf of any organization, and I have some questions I hope you can answer. Number one, although this may be an artifact of Trimet accounting track, some of your management representatives continually say that you're spending $8 million a year on maintenance training. An actual number is closer to 1 million using the methodologies of the Transportation Research Board. I think that distorts the conversation and is something that needs to be looked at and hopefully corrected. Secondly, why did Trimet Management commission an expensive report from TRC Engineering on how to fix Trimet training and then bury it? TRC's researcher met with many management and labor stakeholders, wrote a detailed professional report, but Trimet's director of labor relations repeatedly claimed there was no such report, and for months after the report was submitted. The report makes a number of concrete recommendations for fixing glaring shortcomings in Trimet's current apprenticeship training. Lack of training for instructors, no consistent system of managing what apprentices have learned, inadequate availability of mock-ups and other training aids, insufficient number of trainers in some areas, and much more. Why is this not relevant to bargaining over how to improve training? Why were those recommendations not the basis for focused discussions between management and labor? To help the board think about that, I want to put in the record, it's in the back of my statement, the 5.5 pages of recommendations from the TRC report. And I hope the board has seen that report, but haven't. I'd have to ask, why would that be? Number three, in the introduction of new technology, APTA's recommended practice is that trainers and frontline maintenance workers be introduced to new technology, in this case, battery electric buses, frequently and in depth as that new technology is introduced. But your maintainers have been excluded from any contact with introduction of battery electric buses. How does that make any sense? Number four, why does Trimet, an innovator in creating effective labor management training partnerships for apprenticeship 40 years ago, now want to dismantle it at this time, this very special time, when the new FTA administrator, Nuria Fernandez, not incidentally the board chair of APTA, is an outspoken champion of transit training partnerships and apprenticeship, when the new U.S. Secretary of Labor, Marty Walsh, is perhaps the country's #1 advocate for apprenticeship, and when apprenticeship is strongly built into Chairman Peter DeFazio's Invest Surface Transportation.
I'm going to have to ask you to wrap up. I will remind the board and you that we do have all of your materials, and I would like to ask that the staff respond to those because, again, I don't think we can answer your questions here this morning, but do appreciate the input.
No. Oh, God, what a farce. No, yeah, it pisses me off.
Well,
So if you could please wrap up, I'd appreciate it.
and wrapping up, I think these are questions that the board needs to get its arms around and not just think this is something that would be handled by your administrative staff. That's not.
Yeah, you're not, if you're going to go talk to them, don't pussyfoot around, okay? Be honest about how you feel and what you want from them, okay? Tell them what you want, and tell them what you're not getting from the management here.
Not the right answer. They're not coming up with the right answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, you don't.
Mr. Chairman, I would
Yes.
like to.
Okay. See, very rare for an actual board member to respond to a public testimony, and I've always thought that the board should discuss these testimonies. You shouldn't just have somebody come up, talk, and then next. It should be discussion about this.
Please.
Piggyback on that as well, that I would like to get answers from our staff as well. I'm concerned about
Good for
the
you.
information that
Yeah, this guy's my new hero. You see here, I don't know if you, Lori Bauman is the current vice president. They're going to make her the president, and she's horrible. You know why I say that about her? Because when they were discussing the fair stuff, she made this point about she was worrying about people cheating on their fares. She actually said it. Well, I'm worried people will cheat. And that's when my opinion on her went into the toilet. Okay. It's like, you're going to get somebody like that. And I bet you she ends up president. And we'll rake her over the coals good. Don't worry.
I received in his testimony, and I think the board needs to really focus on that in regard to staff's response.
Yes.
Great. I see the general manager nodding his head on this one, so we will follow up. And again, thanks for providing detailed information. That's very helpful.
Where's his picture? I don't see him.
Jeff?
All right. Next, we're going to Jon Mcalpine.
Jon Mcalpine.
Hello?
Jon, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. So, good morning. My name is Jon Mcalpine. I'm a member of the ATU Local 757. And I do have a script. I'll just touch some points on it and then just share my thoughts and feelings. I speak in solidarity today on behalf of my union brothers and sisters. Having worked for the last year through the COVID-19 pandemic, transit employees have been designated essential workers, but are not treated as such. Trimet's asking us to risk our lives to go to work. All that we ask is for to be treated fairly at the bargaining table. Essential workers are not expendable. Our lives should have more value than just our jobs. We mean more to our families than just a paycheck. So last year, ATU secured funding, $25 billion, to ensure that transit agencies, among other things, could place employees on paid administrative leave due to service reductions. Trimet received approximately $196 million. These funds represent the previous year's federal allotment plus 2.8%. Trimet refused to provide these funds as it claims it should not use taxpayer dollars to bail out employees of a private corporation. At the pandemic's peak.
Did you hear that? You mean Trimet? I really want to know what happened to that money that the feds gave them.
Last year, First Transit laid off nearly 300 workers and cut their health care. Today, there are still close to 200 of us out of work and without health care in the middle of the largest health crisis in our lifetime.
Yeah, and why weren't they hired as cleaners? Why are you hiring outside? Those people should have gotten first crack at the cleaner jobs. They didn't. Every action that the Trimet executive staff has made, backed by this neoliberal board, with the exception of the two newest members, has been union busting, union busting, union busting. They've done nothing for the union members. Nothing.
So today we ask that you invest funding toward our reemployment so that we continue to do our part to save their frail lives. And for the apprenticeship program, the apprenticeships are important because they give our unskilled members a career pathway to obtain the skills they need to promote to higher paying jobs. And there's not very many of those out there these days, especially without degrees. And degrees don't guarantee high paying jobs anyway either. There's a lot of folks, I waited tables and cooked in restaurants for 15, 20 years. And I'll tell you right now that there's a lot of people out there tending bar or serving waiting tables, and they have college degrees. There's no guarantee on that investment. So these career pathways are really important. And like somebody else pointed out, I believe it was Mike Miller, there are people who came here specifically for these pathways as service workers to get into an apprenticeship, and it really is deeply unfair. to cut that off. The apprenticeship programs in transit help build a pipeline of skilled workers. Without these pipelines, transit agencies won't find enough skilled workers to maintain their bus fleets or their rail, because there's not that many people who have those skills. So the apprenticeship program increase knowledge transfer through on-the-job learning from experienced mentor, combined with education courses to support work-based learning. So I think that it's really important that Trimet should, bargain in good faith and stop trying to cut the programs that help serve this community. Yeah. And I'll let it go there. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Very, very good. Right on the money in terms of the time. Thank you very much for your
That's all you
comments.
care about, man.
Jeff?
All right. Next, we're going to Jonathan Hunt.
All right.
Jonathan?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Good morning, President Warren and members of the board. Jonathan Hunt, Vice President, Assistant Business Agent of Amalgamated Transit Division 757. Over the past 5 years, at least, we've asked you multiple times to give us meaningful opportunity to talk to you. Instead, I'm here once again, calling in on a public testimony line, crossing my fingers, hoping to be able to have my voice heard. As a representative of more than 2,500 people who are directly affected by the decisions you make, this is not acceptable. Surely, President, Mary, our financial secretary, and myself are elected to represent the transit workers in the Tri-County area. And you, the board of directors, are charged with setting agency policy. We should be working together. You serve at the pleasure of the governor.
Yeah, he's been saying this for years. You know how long this has been going on? A decade. This has been going on for a decade, this dispute between the union and the management. Since McFarland showed up, since day one of McFarland.
But we all should be answering to the community, the ridership, the taxpayers. What do you have to say to them about the agency's policy on contracting out work rather than creating and maintaining jobs in the Tri-County area? What do you have to say to them about the agency's policy on contracting out paratransit work, the service we provide to Tri-County area's most vulnerable population, so that the money goes out of the country? What do we have to say about the agency's policies of allowing hundreds of people in paratransit jobs to be laid off rather than passing down CARES funds? Over the past couple of years, we have seen more and more turnover at Trimet. I fear the current leadership is not invested or concerned in the future of public transportation in Portland. I fear this is just a stopover for them, but it's not for me and it's not for the people you represent. I'm looking to you now more than ever to ask the hard questions of Trimet and to be more active in setting agency policies. And I again ask for more meaningful engagement with the union. We have got to figure out a better way to communicate and to resolve these issues. I have been actively participating in this half of my life, over 26 years in this agency, 21 of them as a full-time officer. Things are not getting better, they're getting worse. If you look back at the state secretary.
He's been there 21 years as a union officer, 21 years, wow.
Report that showed how our communication with management, if somebody dusted that off and did an evaluation, would see that we're probably even farther behind. And although we represent 29 separate collective bargaining agreements, Trimet seems to be the one that continues. While we have lots of meetings, there's nothing in substance. There's nobody on the other side that's willing to engage with us and get this settled. I'm requesting and I'm asking that this board participate, that help guide this agency and resolve these issues. This notion that we'll just go to court is unacceptable.
Yeah.
We need to roll up our sleeve. We have asked to meet. We have a couple of negotiations scheduled. However, we are continuing to hear this absurdity that we don't want to build our community. We want to give it away to other folks. We are going into a different technology, but we're not putting the resources into our own people. We have highly intelligent, hardworking folks that show up every single day there requesting an opportunity to better themselves and their families. Why would we not want to give them the first opportunity? Again, I encourage you.
I'm going to have to ask you to wrap up.
Shut up, Bruce.
You bet. I absolutely will. Again,
What a piece of shit. This is a union officer, okay? And they're treating them like just nobody. This is really all you need to see about the board and the management and how they view the union and the union members. He won't even give John the time to say what he has to say. This is all you need to see. This is all the evidence you need to understand where the management views you, the union member. They don't view you at all. You're nothing. Okay. You think out of common courtesy, you would allow the president, the vice president of the union to speak without being interrupted like this. But he doesn't even have that respect for the union. This is a serious, serious problem. And this is all the evidence you need to understand who you work for. Okay, we don't need to show any more than this. This is it right here. This is the evidence of the disdain the management and the board have for the union. Now, you don't have to like John or Shirley. The people don't matter. It's the position. They are the elected president and the elected vice president. Whether you like them or not is irrelevant. And the fact that Warner cuts them off after 2 minutes is all the evidence you need. You don't need to. They don't care about you. So stop caring about them. Stop worrying about fares and anything else. Fuck that company. Okay? They're not going to help you.
I want to thank you all. I'd appreciate in the future that we're able to get at least on video for our speakers. I think it really limits and has a cooling off effect of our presentations.
Yeah,
and
right.
I just encourage there's an opportunity and time that we're all able to safely get to.
Yeah, why can't they be on the Zoom? Right. Why not? Why not? The leader in technology can't figure it out, just like the leader in technology cut out the whole first part of this board meeting for me.
Together and solve these issues. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate it.
No, you don't. Stop lying.
Jeff, speaker, please.
Okay, hold on. Just stop, because I'm looking right here at an unfair labor practice that was submitted by the union against Trimet, and I want to read you part of it, okay? Because this is important. You have to understand. It's hard to understand where this company is at in regards to you, the union employee. And you need to understand this, because they are disingenuous as to their caring about you. Okay, let me just read part of this. For over 20 years, Trimet has offered 6 apprenticeship programs: bus maintenance, field equipment maintenance, facilities maintenance, signals, catenary systems, substations, and rail equipment maintenance. Prior to the previous collective bargaining agreement dated December 1st, 2012 through November 30th, 2016, Trimet had not hired any employees into any journey worker classification in these 6 applicable classifications from outside Trimet, except on limited occasions. Pursuant to an agreement with the union, all employees entered into the 6 apprentice classifications, except a negotiated contractual exception, which is noted below, by being hired into entry-level classification, passing a mechanical aptitude test to qualify, and then opting into the apprenticeship opening in seniority when opening occurred. As of December 1st to 2016 November, Trimet negotiated the right to hire 5 employees that shall have the right to hire 5 journey workers from outside the district to fill positions in any discipline within the district. The parties reached tentative agreement. Trimet hired 5 journey workers from outside the district. In 2018, Trimet hired more than the allotted 5 from outside the district. Okay, so they were already violating the agreement. Okay, they had an agreement to not hire more than 5, and they've already violated it. And that's what Trimet does. And we've seen this over and over and over. They do what they want, and then they expect you to sue them. That is their strategy. You heard John mention it. That's what they do. This is how they function. They do what they want, and then you have to go to court to undo it. This is the kind of people you're dealing with here. So they violated the contract about this already, and they just want to get rid of the apprenticeships completely. It's a serious, serious problem.
All right. Next up is Anthony Forrester.
Okay, I think we came in here, if I remember correctly.
Or I am unable to unmute Anthony. I will, Anthony, I'll come back to you.
How about now?
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
There we go. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
President Warner, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Well, I can see you, but you can't see me. It's also nice to see some board members. Doug, great to see you as always, and then Sam. Let me just first echo.
I think I did
what
him.
I didn't get who said about the APTA standards, but Trimet continually uses the APTA standards in negotiations as the gold standard. And if APTA is recommending stuff about obviously we're a lot of us here to talk about the apprenticeship program. So for those of you that don't know me, good morning, President Warner. It's good to see you. My name is Anthony Forrester, and I'm a member of ATU 757. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm the Executive Board Officer for Light Rail Operators. I've been at Trimet for 22 years, and I've seen a lot of changes. Some of them for the better, some of them not. In all that I've seen in all of your programs, the apprenticeship program is continually one of the best programs that Trimet has. Not only to make sure that its people are better, but to make sure that this agency can move into the future, right? And that's a fundamental piece of why Trimet has even seen the success that it has during my 22 years, and even before that, is the apprenticeship program. It's consistently delivered men and women to the agency, to the ranks of the people that have fixed all that I've broken in my 22 years. I've seen people that have gone through the apprenticeship program that can literally resurrect buses and trains from the dead, right? Performing miracle feats of mechanics on this equipment, saving the agency thousands of dollars by their training. I've talked to so many mechanics that came to Trimet with skills that were quite honestly lacking when they came to Trimet. And they had a break, they got hired as a cleaner, and then they added to their skills through the training, through the apprenticeship programs that the agency provided. And in this, they have actually been able to start taking care of their family better, taking care of their community better, right? That's finally, that they finally have these resources and then the time that they can give back to the community and to all those that are around them. This is a fundamental part of organization and my union, quite honestly, that when you've been given, then you can give back to those that are around you, that you can lift up all those people that are around you through having the ability and the resources and the time. This program is not just about keeping our organization moving forward. It's about keeping the families and all of our communities moving forward. I'm a third generation union guy. My granddad was a part of the Engineers Local 701. He built Oregon. He built Autzen Stadium. He built I-5. He built dams in the Cascades. The apprenticeship program that he entered into allowed him to bring his family out of poverty. His kids, his grandkids, his great-grandkids have kept this moving through this training, through the apprenticeship that he went through. Apprenticeships have always been a fundamental building block of our organization, right? Groups around the nation are trying to figure out how to expand these programs because of the benefits that apprenticeship programs bring to the organizations. That's why I don't get why Trimet's trying to get rid of their apprenticeship program. In my opinion, if this program's gone, so will a fundamental pillar of Trimet.
It's all about union
and
busting.
how we have moved forward. Group after group is showing how important these programs are. Even with as partisan as Washington is right now, and we all know that it's just freaking, there's chasms between the parties. There's a bipartisan bill that's making its way through Congress because of what apprenticeships add to organizations. There are so many things that Trimet has been ahead of the curve on. Electric buses, light rail vehicles. I mean, good golly, even the light rail system itself was ahead of its time back in the 80s, back in the 70s and 80s. When it comes to the apprenticeship program, it seems that the agency is not only behind the curve, but they're not even on the same road as so many people and politicians and agencies that I'm reading about.
Anthony, I'm going to have to ask you to wrap up, please.
I got one more sentence.
All right.
For me, I want to keep our agency ahead of the curve. I want to keep the apprenticeship program and I want to keep our agency moving forward. And I think that's what you all want to do, and I think that we all need to be on the same page. So again, President Warner, it's good to see you. Hope you're doing well, and members of the board, thank you for your time.
All right, we'll cut there because that's where we came in. I want to just read one more part of this unfair labor practice because I'm probably one of the only people that have been talking about this for years, about the lack of ethics by these executives. It's just stunning what they do in order to oppress their union people. On or about January 17, 2020, ATU learned that Trimet had posted a revised job description online and was hiring 10 employees into the new position of diesel technician, which was part of its bargaining proposal that eliminates the apprenticeship program. At the time, Trimet posted 10 openings for diesel technician. The parties were bargaining over working wage agreement, and the dispute resolution procedures were not exhausted. Trimet's unilateral change by eliminating the apprenticeship program and instead hiring apprentice graduates from outside the district into the journey worker mechanic classification constitutes an unfair labor practice. So you understand what they did. They just unilaterally took it upon themselves to say, we're not going to follow this agreement. We're going to hire 10 people from outside the agency as a diesel technician. And that's what they did. And they said, well, too bad for you. Go sue us. Go sue us. Tough shit. And that's what the union did. And I don't have the time to see if this was adjudicated, because if you go to the trimet.org union contract section, it's impossible to see what's going on because they have it all broken down by month, and then they have everything that happened that month in all different places, and you have to go through each little thing to see what actually happened. And it takes a lot of time to go through these documents to actually see what they were what's going on there. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, is that these people that are running Trimet, and this has started with McFarland and it's still going, have undertaken this agenda of union busting, and they've been getting away with it. And it needs to stop, or I don't know, man. Everybody that has this dedication to Trimet, you're suckers, man. You're like suckers. You're just like suckers of certain political leaders who suck dry their followers and then laugh at them behind their backs and what a bunch of morons they were to actually believe anything they say.